Actually, okay, now I'm live on YouTube. I will link you just as soon as I get a link.
Okay, do we want, Jeremy, do you want to do the Twitch thing or you want me to hit the buttons?
It's going to take me a little while to set up. If you can get it quicker than I can, I would say go for it.
I'll go ahead and hit the start streaming, but I didn't set up like the information on the Twitch stream.
Oh, well, go do that first. Do that first. It's okay. It's definitely worth taking the extra minute because it really makes a difference in terms of attendance. Yeah, just get the right attendance. I get the right information, and I'm gonna. Hey, Jeremy, looking good. Right now? I'm gonna just take care of something real quick in my background.
Is my video on right now?
Your video, your video is on. No, Zach, your video is not. I didn't recognize. Wrong voice. No, Zach Saker, your video is off.
How do I? So I'm in settings.
You don't need to be in settings to turn your video on. That is from the main panel at the just below the channel selection. There's a little green button or a gray button that says video.
Video connected. Yeah.
If you just tap that, and that should turn your camera on. I'll be right back.
Manny,
if that doesn't work, I'll help you more.
Yeah,
Manny, your title is the HF Warrior. Is that right? Did I get it right?
Yes, that's correct. The person that got retweeted by Andrew Yang today.
Yeah, congrats, bro. I saw that. Yeah,
very special.
Yeah, those comments were spicy too. I tell you. People
oh man, that was heat. That was heat. Are we live on YouTube right now?
Yeah, we are.
So the Trumpers for Yang wanted to get on, but he said before he tried, and it wasn't on yet. So someone could let him know to come on. Just text him maybe, or anyone knows him. I sent him a text and just. You send him again. He said he wants to come on and watch, so have a conversation on the YouTube channel. All right. So actually, I have a lot to say, but let's hear first who you guys are. Let's get to know each other first.
All right, 1 second. Let me officially start the show by pulling in Craig. We started as an audio-only podcast, and my favorite place to distribute a show is still Spotify. Because I am primarily an audio engineer.
Tags.
How to what?
We have a bunch of. I don't know how to remove tags.
Why do you need to remove tags? Like from Bart,
because
you mean?
I'm redoing the stream info.
Oh, the tags will be when you change.
Now recording.
Hi. When you change the description and you select a category, when you select politics, it will automatically add all the tags associated with politics. So don't worry about manually doing the tags.
Redoing my thing.
Would you like me to do it? I'll just do it real fast. I'll just do it.
Wait, I'm already doing it.
Okay. Well, all right then. Then do it. So welcome to the Yanggang Roundtable. It is 8:17 p.m. Sunday, October 25th.
I'm not to stream until I edit the info.
Okay. We've been streaming on YouTube for like 5 minutes already.
Okay, so don't edit the info or edit the info. I'm working on the info right now.
Well, edit the Twitch stream info before you start the Twitch stream.
You have the link to YouTube so we can follow along the comments?
Yeah, that's
all right.
It's right in the live stream chat.
Live stream chat.
I'll be back in a flash.
Do you
putting my credits in early?
Where do I find the chat on this thing? I never used Discord before, so I'm like,
you know what? I'll just send it to you on Twitter.
Thank you.
I'll send it to you. Yeah, no problem, Ben. All right, here it comes. It's done.
All right, I see it. Thanks.
Awesome. Yeah, retweet that. We'll give Faye a minute, then we'll start the show.
Getting ready is half the fun.
All right, stream info has been updated, and I hit the button right now.
All right.
Start streaming.
Fantastic. Welcome to the Yanggang Roundtable. It is Sunday, October 25th, 8:18 p.m. We have a late show, special today to accommodate our guests. We have Jack and Manny. They're both Trump supporters who are Yanggang, and part of our mission statement here is to bridge communication gaps. And we have not really had any Trump supporters, people who are still supporting Trump. There's only one. People who are supporting Trump and are Yang Gang. So welcome to the show, Manny and Jack. Manny on camera, Jack not pictured but here. Please, I'm done. You started talking. I like that. I'm gonna hand it to you. So please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm sure a lot of you just know me from back when I made a Twitter poll that got viral between Andrew Yang and Trump. It got over 100. Was it? No, it was 75,000, and Yang won by 9 points. It got really viral, and that's how I got I was a Trump supporter in 2016, and then got to know the Yang Gang through that poll. Because we got into discussions about UBI and Andrew Yang and what his platform is like, and that really got me into really deep discussions in a very peaceful manner. I'm sure you guys remember those times, and we discussed UBI very clearly. I understood it very well with Scott, the UBI guy. You know who I'm talking about. So he was very reasonable, explaining me what it's about. I had a long conversation, and finally I understood it. And then I was very amazed by how I never heard this before in the past, a decade of how things are happening under our nose, but we're not taking care of it. UBI is the solution for it, and it was just something that I really liked. So I moved over to supporting Andrew Yang for him to be president. So I actually voted for him in the primary in New York, and I was excited. But then it was a really sad day when he dropped out. I was actually in Nevada campaigning. I went there. I got a flight. Went there to help out, and he dropped out in New Hampshire before he came to Nevada. I was so broken. I was sitting in my hotel room watching it live, how he just announced that he's dropping out. It was really broken. Working hard and spending money and time and effort, and then he's not in the race anymore. So that was really upsetting. But going forward, I was really happy that Andrew Yang took that whole movement and didn't stop there. He's actually doing what he planned, even without being president, without being a candidate, without being in politics. He's still getting things done, which shows a lot about him and his ideas. Is actually not just about politics, it's about actually getting things done. So that was something that's really positive and beautiful. Now, we're turning a corner now to coming towards the 2020 election, and things are really heated now. A lot of the Yang Gang split up, going right, left, and some in the middle, not even supporting any of the candidates, voting third party or libertarian, independent, so on, writing in Yang. So there's a lot of mixed feelings, to say the least, and very heated discussions between us. I personally moved to the right after a long, thought-out, calculated discussions with people and looking at policies, looking at two sides, until it came to a certain point where I just felt like one side is being too strong on their opinion and not even wanting to discuss it. So I basically gave up on that, on the point of like fighting with someone, but just being on my own opinion and living with it. So I decided to vote. I voted in person early for Trump's, and that's something that people could cancel me, call me out, shame me for it. It happens to a lot of people. I'm someone that could take it, meaning I'm someone that I'm fine with going public that I'm a Trump supporter, because I know that I have an opinion. I have my way of understanding things, and that's fine. We could disagree. We're still very much one family. We're Americans, and we all want the same thing. The question is how to get there. Hopefully we want the same thing. Most of us want the same thing. We want a better livelihood get rid of poverty, fix our roads, fix our bridges, fix our communities, our schools, education, healthcare. All these things are things that we all agree on. At least most of us, rational people, agree on. So there's just the question of how we get there. That we could discuss. That we could. Oh, it's beautiful to have a debate. That's what America's like, and that's exactly what I was putting out today. I'm like, this is the real American spirit. Even if the picture is not perfect, but it's the idea of two sides coming together. And maybe they disagree. Maybe they have total disagreement, but at least they could come together on being human, being like respecting one another, because you're both made from the same God and you have the same body. You just have to respect. That's first is respect another being. After that, you could talk. You could have a discussion. And that's something that's really important now. We have to stress more than ever. We need someone that's going to unify the country. Stress on how we can all actually agree on things more than disagreeing. And Trump's not perfect. Don't. I'm not taking that Trump's the perfect guy. And I really wanted someone like Yang, and Tulsi is great. Tulsi Gabbard. I just think right now this is the two options. Joe Biden has lost his mind. He's you just look at the schedule. He's sleeping in his basement most of the time, and he's not coming out. He comes out for a little bit, and then he's tired. He's losing his sentence, and he's not with it. He can't be a leader of this country. He's just not fit. Now, you're going to say Trump has a lot of wrong tone, the wrong message. You might be right on a lot of things, but the fact is, it's about what he's done. He's done an enormous amount of things. I was just looking through an accomplishments of what he did. Even if you don't agree with what he did, is good. But he did so many things for his supporters. His promises that he kept on the campaign trail, he did an enormous amount. And that's something that we have to focus on, seeing policy, not just character. Character is important, but policy is really, really important. And I don't think Joe Biden has the best character, to be honest. I look at him how he screams at people, his supporters. He called them chums. He called them names. I don't think he's someone that has a good character, even if you're going to character-wise. So there's a lot of different things over here that we could discuss. I want to open discussion. It shouldn't just be my opinion. I want to hear what you guys have to say, and then I'll talk about it and see how we disagree and agree on things.
I do want to jump in real quick, to because man, like I do understand where you come from as far as like talking about various issues that matter, and even things like mental health and stuff that don't really get much recognition, especially by the general public. Like they and things are just so divided and so like one's okay. What's that? Oh, this is
Let me mute myself. Give me a second.
Oh, okay. Well, I was just saying that yeah, like there's a lot of like these one-minded perspectives on both sides. I mean, that's how I see it. Like you have those who are saying, "Oh, pick me because the other side is bad." That sort of type of rhetoric. There's not really any sort of substance, and to be honest, like I'm just putting out there, I didn't vote for either one, like Biden or Trump, because I felt that they weren't leadership material. And for me, it's about not about like what they did for their supporters, but what they've done for the entire country, like everybody all together. And so far, nothing has really improved, especially in a lot of in every single community. It's only like certain parts, and things have just gotten worse. There's a lot of civil unrest. There's a lot of disruption, and the the swamp hasn't been drained, as Trump would say. Like there's still that corruption. None of that has been addressed, and we're just looking for someone who can not only bring us together but can solve these big time issues that even and from across the board, not just the ones that are trending or at the top, whatever, but even those that don't get discussed as much, because they lead to these bigger happenings that we're seeing. It creates a domino effect, and and I feel like that's why Andrew Yang was so easily, a lot of people like gravitated to him because he talked about every single issue um across the spectrum, no matter what, like, and that reflected in his policies. That's why he had over 150, literally dissecting our systems and going through the details as to, like, okay, how can we address this and that. He didn't overlook or overshadow any other thing. Like, every single issue, every single subject, had importance. It had merit. And the problem is, it's like, people in this society, in the general public, like, we've become so brainwashed to be honest, yeah, by the media, by the top officials, where they're not telling us the whole story. And then when someone, like Yang, actually pulls the cloak off of our eyes and stuff and tells us what's really going on, even though it's like a state, we start reaching that region state. It's also a bitter pill to swallow, and it's really upsetting because now we're seeing, like, okay, what we thought before was all a lie. And and these people at the top, like, they're just laughing in our faces and not doing anything about it. And we're just forced to, like, you know settle down with what seems a bit better from our perspective and the person we choose, because it's like, what else are we going to do? It's like we're given these very harsh ultimatums that only cause more harm than good, bring more detriment into our lives. And it's just like it, and it's a terrible mindset. It only creates more chaos, more division and disruption, and a lot of uh uh lack of energy and drive to do better, and do something substantial or productive that could give us a better, brighter future. Because the people in general, like, they're just like, I'm just voting for this guy because the other guy or the other person I don't like. Like, that's not a good mindset. And I'm not gonna be one of those people who are like, well, this one's better, or that was like, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not going down that road. I'm like, I have too much respect for myself to be like, no, I'm not just going to, just settle for what's put in front of us. I'm just going to, like, go by, who I think, has characteristics that I spoke of. And so far it has been Andrew Yang, and that was the one that earned my vote, earned my respect, because he's literally speaking the same frustration, the same, language as me, and I'm sure, like, I'm not the only one who talks about these things, like, and he's preached to the choir, whereas these other ones, they're just feeding a whole bunch of BS
They're just
to
for themselves.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just, and it's like, I believe, like, a lot of people are frustrated, but they're frustrated at the wrong people. It's like it's not rare than
Do
yeah.
you?
So
So I'm totally. I feel like Yang Gang can stick together if we stuck together during the primary, right? Now that we've moved on to the next phase, I think we could still stick together now and even after the election, whoever is elected.
I'm pretty sure, like, after the election, despite who wins, like all the conservative and liberal Yang Gang can just be like, okay, like, let's put that all aside and work towards these goals.
Let's face it, elections are really polarizing in general. Everybody is hardlining. Everybody is trying to convince people to get onto their side. And the means by which people are willing to try and convince people are getting more and more aggressive as we get closer and closer.
So since
it is, yeah.
A lot of catharsis for people when that responsibility no longer feels like it's weighing down on them. Everybody is attached to their vote. Everybody is attached to having other people agree with them, especially if they care about the opinion of. And generally, everybody cares about each other enough to care about each other's opinions.
So we have Manny on. So let's just ask him, like, we say, like, November 3rd. After that, no matter who wins, do you think that all this polarization between conservative and liberal Yang gonna like, at least go away, and we can try to like focus in our effort on like getting his solutions.
I think very much. I think there's two things that need to be done right now. For one, I think we all need to focus on what we agree on, and we all agree on one thing that got us united at first. Like a few of you were saying, that UBI is the number one thing that got us united, and we should focus on it. The more we focus on it, the more we'll be united to get it done. Number two, I think that we need to stick together on issues, not on like what we hold as dear to us. Nobody else doesn't. If nobody else agrees with us, then we can't be on the same page. Yeah, it's okay if we disagree. It's okay if we have differences, but we need to focus on the core issue of why we all in the beginning became yanggang, and what got me as a Trump supporter and what got a Bernie bro, if any of you are from that group, came to the yanggang. We have many of that, right? From both sides of the aisle. It's incredible what Andrew Yang did. It's never happened before in such a odd way that so many different people came. There's a reason for that, because there's an issue. When there's a core issue of everybody cares about, we could unite on that issue. And once you're united, then you could come across any force. The movement just gets bigger. The only reason why I think Andrew Yang didn't make it to the end over here is because he didn't play the dirty game. He didn't play the dirty game of politics, how everyone else does, with doing things that we know about, of campaigns, play the dirty tricks to get the media and everything else.
Here's the thing, though, Manny. Like, do you think that like just like you back in 2015, I was supporting Trump because I was so sick and tired of like politics as usual and it's the same BS. And when he won, I got a little excited. But then as the years passed by, unfortunately, I see him as like all talk and no walk, because I thought like in the midst of this pandemic, he'd be sending out like more than one check and like just sending out. But because he's saying he's so rich. But anyway, that's beside the point. I don't care about that. The thing that it is that, well, Yang
talking about Trump. Who are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm talking about Trump. But the thing,
wait a second. Trump is not a dictator. He can't just say something and it happens. He has a Congress. He has to go through Congress. And he did get stimulus. He got 3 times, right? If I'm not mistaken.
What?
First time was actual paid to people, got $1,200, and then there was other PPE, right? So it wasn't like he didn't get anything out. But there are people blocking it. Nancy Pelosi, we all know this. Nancy Pelosi is blocking the bill.
Mitch McConnell is too. Both sides are responsible.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, they're both of us. Both sides are screwing us over.
Like the plan is without even a stimulus for the people, and we've been going on to 7 months without one now at all. So that was not heard that side any points either.
Yeah, we were given breadcrumbs. Yeah, from all that.
To be fair, though, Trump has shown he's very, very willing and eager to be sending out the direct checks to people. It's just that, like you said, both sides, GOP and the Democrat establishment have been blocking it.
They're all pretty bad.
I mean, to an extent, but
okay, wait. Let me just finish what I needed to say, because that was, I said, beside the point. The thing is that, do you think that in the long run, like, Yang can exert more influence really in a Trump administration than he could in a Biden administration? Like that's the only thing I'm thinking about here. I don't care about Biden or Trump. I'm just caring of like what's the best way to get these ideas that we all agree on through. So let's just say
impact you can have
in a hypothetical world, the one that, Manny, maybe you want your friend, Trump does win, and then Yang says, hey, let's do this UBI. And then like the Republicans will go like, no, that's socialism. And like, this guy is a liberal Democrat.
Disagree.
Okay.
I disagree with that. I think Trump has a very big chance of getting it done. Look, he passed criminal justice reform. That's a very liberal stand. And he went against all odds. Obama didn't do it. He wanted to do it, but it was hard. His hands was tied from both sides. Trump fought tooth and nail to get it done. Now, that's something that's very unpopular in the Republican Party. I think Trump could get something done if he believes in it. And someone just has to sit down with him and explain it to him. And I'm sure Trump would sit down with Andrew Yang after he gets elected and talk to him about it. It's not something that Trump would throw away, especially that he said, go big or go home. I think that he really wants to help people. That could be looked at as maybe not true, and certain things that he does, it seems like he doesn't want to help. But Trump is very weird in that way, that he speaks one thing, but he does a lot of good things for the people. And
I'll believe it when I see it.
Hey,
so
Manny.
yeah, I'm not sure that
his accomplishments. If you want.
I'm not sure if I agree that he has accomplished a lot, but I do believe that when he wants to do something, right, he does it in a kind of a, like sort of, he's just going to do it no matter what anybody else says. And I did notice that he really likes the stimulus check, and he asked Pelosi to send it up all by itself, which is exactly what Scott Santos has asked for, right? And I'm not a Trumper whatsoever, right? But when Trump says something that I believe is correct, I also don't, back away from it and say, well, he said it, so I'm not going to mention it. No, I'm going to mention that because this is what needs to happen, right? It's the thing,
Great point.
Exactly what Scott Santos says.
Yeah.
And I'm 100%. I wish Andrew Yang had gone up there and said, instead of the political thing, instead of the, sort of partisan thing that he did, which is Nancy, get it done, right? Because then now you've got all of this furor about, now it's, this side's fault versus that side's fault. Yeah. He should have said, hey, let's split it out exactly as President Trump said. And let's send just that one piece that everybody agrees is the best thing and the most important thing. And I wish he had done that, but he didn't.
I think the reason why he even said that was we need to get the money out to the people, and things have been looking very, very dark out here, and he's like, hey, like, we got to help them, like, somehow. It's like, and we have no time to waste. So that's why he sounded like,
all right. So if he sees
from that perspective, but I feel like
he sees that for the whole thing, if he sees UBI as a must because you need to help the people, if someone explains it to him and gets it to his brain, he would definitely be for it. It's not something that he's against. It's just that he never understood it yet. And when he understands it, I think he'll definitely be on board.
Well, there's another thing is that I don't. Sorry, Mia. Just one more thing, which is that I may not agree that Trump actually is wanting to do good things for the people. I feel like his motivation is political in the sense that, he knows that if he gives money to the people, that makes people really happy, and it's going to help him in the long run when he does what the people want, right?
I agree with you on one point there. I agree with you. I just want to say I agree with you that Trump is doing it for his legacy, but he's getting things done for his legacy. He cares very much about his ego and his legacy. That means that he has to do a lot of things to make his legacy the best. Now, he's done an enormous amount of work in the past 4 years. You could argue all day about this, but the fact is he's done a lot of work. There's accomplishments. I could list them off. It's a long list. And
I don't want to argue about that, right? I'm not trying to argue about it. But when he says things that I agree with, I come right out and say I agree with that. And that does occasionally happen. I notice,
Just for a little context, I would be curious in hearing your quick top 3 Trump accomplishments in your opinion.
Wait, but Mia wanted to say something quick. We shut her down before.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mia. You first, please.
I just I would like to really quick say that the thing that would emphasize your point the most is if Trump had shown any interest in 1, Andrew Yang, or 2, UBIs in general. He has never made a mention of it. The reason why I currently support Biden over top of Trump, besides policy differences that I'm sure we could all discuss at another time, but the Humanity Forward candidates, particularly the early on ones, were all very strong UBI proponents. If we do not take the Senate, the House, those proponents are depowered. So they don't have the ability to speak as loud of voices as they would otherwise without a democratically controlled government at the moment. There are not enough Republicans taking on the battle cry that we can have them representing us, and having them have more power actually defeats the people who have been willing to step out and say, yes, UBI is important to us. So for me, voting for Biden isn't voting for Biden. It's voting for our down ballot candidates who will represent us. So that's where I stand on that.
So I want to respond to some of this and maybe end with a question to the
Can
group.
I make a quick point here?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
So I don't think Trump is inherently against a universal basic income. I think it's already been pointed out that it could be politically beneficial for him if he's able to say, hey, I'm giving money directly to the people, and even if he's not, let's say he wins re-election, he won't be able to run again in 2024. But still, his legacy, like Manny was saying, I think Trump considers very important. But I think it was also correctly said in here, forget by who, that the information just needs to be put in front of Trump. He probably doesn't know all that much about UBI. If Andrew Yang was to get an audience with Donald Trump, then Trump would all of a sudden probably be in favor of UBI. I don't see Andrew Yang being able to get an audience with Donald Trump due to the fact that Andrew Yang is a Biden guy now.
That was going to be my question.
And we saw after the 2016 election how political everything has become, whereas, he's getting rid of people in different agencies because they're Obama people. That's Obama judges we got, I could see there being a little bit of a grudge there or a hesitation to meet with somebody who was trying to help out the other side in Trump's view.
I want to just quickly and insert that the fact that I don't think the information that we're talking about putting in front of Trump is actually useful to him. Like the way that we talk about information, we talk about like logic and facts and things like that. And that's not what moves Trump in my view. Like what moves him is what do the people want, right? Polls, right? Or things like sort of the narrative of it, right? And how does this narrative benefit him so specifically? So this is the information he needs. He doesn't need the Andrew Yang, and facts and logic. He doesn't even want that from his own team. Like the minute he assumed the presidency, he said, I'm not going to be reading all that stuff you want to put in front of me every morning. I don't want to have these meetings with people and have them tell me facts and figures and all this stuff, right? He has a gut feeling about how things should go, and that's the information we need to get in front of him if he's actually elected.
I have a lot to say here. First of all, he's met with a lot of people on the other side of the aisle for different things. For criminal justice reform, he spoke with Van Jones. He spoke with a lot of Obama people, and he got it done. That's number one. Number two, if Trump sees it good for his legacy, let's go back to this. Trump is all about the legacy. This is the reason why he ran. He ran to make a referendum against Obama. He wants to take away his legacy and bring his own legacy. The only way he's going to get that huge legacy is if he wins a re-election. Once he's done a re-election, what else does he have to get for his legacy? He has to get things done that were never done before. He's going to go across the aisle. He's going to be known for the president that went across the aisle. I think if he sees UBI as a thing for the mass, as a good thing, and someone explains it to him, he doesn't have to know all the details and the math of it. Maybe Trump doesn't need that, but he needs someone that he could trust. Andrew Yang could speak to someone, maybe Jared Kushner, someone that could explain to Trump that what is it about, and give it to him on a plate and say, this is how the benefits of it. This is what you could accomplish. I think Trump would go for it. And you could say one way or another, we don't know what's going to happen, but I really think he could go with it. And we have to, right now, we have to look at between Joe Biden and him. I see Joe Biden didn't say even a word about UBI. Now you're all Joe Biden, but fact is, why didn't he say a word about it?
I know he's not going to say a word about it. That's beyond the point for me as to even why I'm voting for it. I said that specifically. I'm voting for him because of the down ballot candidates needing to be in power. Specifically, the ones who
want Nancy Pelosi. You want Nancy Pelosi as the Dem leadership? She just said today that she'll be
is regardless going to be there unless she's voted out. So regardless,
not the leader.
She's going to be there.
So I have
if she doesn't win, they won't be a leader.
McConnell is much worse though. It's like,
yeah, maybe.
I mean, unless you got her donors, or unless you got her big donors on speed dial, she's not going anywhere. Same with Mitch. It's like that's why they laugh in our faces when we call them out on the way they're handling like the STEM talks and all that. They just laugh in our faces because they know that no matter how we like, I think even Andrew Yang said that. Even Andrew Yang said, that the approval rate when it comes to the people towards our lawmakers, especially Mitch and Nancy, is like 22%. But when it comes to like those who put them in office or whatever, it's like at 94, 95% as far as like the top rich folks and whatnot. So it's like it's the system is not really made for us. That's why they're in this. That's why they laugh in our faces.
And the fact that they know how to dance with each other so that nothing happens. Both sides do that. Dance with each other in such a way that nothing ever happens.
Yeah, dance.
Guys, I agree 100%. I agree 100%.
I want to agree with Faye here, and that I think that Donald Trump he tries to see what the people want. He looks at the polls. He looks at what's popular, what can help him, get elected, what can help him be popular for his legacy. And I think that what this pandemic has shown is that monthly payments are popular. And that's why Donald Trump has tweeted out many times that he wants to send direct payments to people. So my question, though, what I was going to say earlier, one of the things that drew me to Andrew Yang in the primaries was that while all the other politicians were just going after Trump, without putting too much of a focus on their policies, Yang said, look, Trump is he's not the cause of all our problems. He's a symptom of the problem. Let's focus on what got Trump elected, those problems that got Trump elected. But now with the election being so contentious, Yang has been very, very pro-Biden and very anti-Trump. So I wonder, since Trump has shown himself to be, very vindictive, to say the least, on people who attack him, how is that going to affect Yang and his ability to work behind the scenes like Van Jones and getting UBI done, getting it to Trump?
So can I bounce off of you, which is that,
Sure.
We're all Yang gang, and that's how we met each other, and I love that. But I'm also, again, if Andrew Yang says something I don't agree with, right, or I think might need a little adjustment, I'm going to come out and just say that. I'm not really going to be a fangirl all the time, and say, well, everything Andrew does is perfect. Sometimes Andrew just kind of disappoints me, but that's okay. I still love him, and I love everybody else in Yang gang. Now, when we move forward into the next phase, whoever is president, right? I feel like we're just going to be getting out into the weeds if we continue arguing and complaining at each other about things. We need to be laser focused, right? And so in order to get that done, it doesn't even have to be Andrew. He said that himself. That was the most important part of it. It doesn't have to be Andrew Yang sitting down with Trump, or it doesn't have to be Andrew sitting with Biden. It could be anybody else who is UBI focused. Right?
Here's the way that I see it. Like, in 2016, when Bernie didn't win and it was really contentious between him and Hillary Clinton, the Bernie people became extremely sour against anyone who wasn't for Bernie, and in attack mode.
Oh yeah.
Us as Yang Gang, we have to do the opposite. Okay, regardless of whoever wins.
Yeah.
This coming November, we just have to be like when people think of Yang Gang, they have to think of wow, these are the most cool, fun, amazing people ever. So if he ever decides to do a 2024 run, regardless of what's happening, we're just out there with our positivity and our happiness, and we show that we can. If we can't be nice to each other, like if left Yang Gang can't be nice to right Yang Gang, how are we going to get anybody outside of Yang Gang to come in? It's wow, they can't even talk. So on November 4th, we all get together and just fight for the policies and help each other out regardless of the outcome.
And stop spraying the poison, stop, break the cycle and all.
Yeah. 100%.
Incredibly important to remember also that at this stage out, we're probably not changing a lot of hearts and minds anymore. There's a very few days left. Arguing about it is literally pointless at this stage.
Yeah.
Other than if you're going to go out and phone bank or text bank for somebody, it's pretty much pointless. What happens
it's a waste of time.
Happen on November 3rd.
Right.
And after that, we're still going to need to be together. We're still going to need to be fighting for UBI specifically. And that's
and I don't know if Manny or was Texas politics? Was Jack, Manny or Jack, if you know this, there was one UBI Republican running in Montana for Senate, and
I forgot his name.
Dan Larson.
Dan
from Montana.
Yeah.
So
like
we got to get more of that. It's unacceptable that there was just one out of like. It was like
people forget about Zoltan too. I mean, Zoltan.
In 1 second.
Yes, I would have voted for Zoltan if it was in the.
Hang on, let me sing.
Yeah. Tramper for Yang wanted to run as a Republican. He actually asked his audience, what do you think? And he got crazy amounts of backlash. You can't run as a Republican and have UBI. The reason why it's so unacceptable is because that's how they basically people took UBI and framed it as socialism. Framed it part of the Bernie Sanders group, and if you have UBI, you're already a socialist. It got a wrong frame from the beginning. I think if we reframe it to the world, to the Republicans, to both sides, explaining that it's not socialism or not. It's totally a different concept that has to be taught.
That doesn't start at zero.
I mean, it's your compensation for being one of the greatest investors in shareholders.
Wait, the problem is if you frame it in any way, one side's gonna say, "Hey, I don't like that." So don't say it's capitalism or it's not capitalism. It's just a new thing, and that's what it's gonna be. That's it.
Well, that's true, and also I find that Yang has already done a lot of this early exploration. We discovered that between Trump supporters and conservatives and libertarians and progressives and people who are far out to the left, anarchists, whatever, all of us could agree that universal basic income is pretty important, and that if we had it, it would be transformational for all of us. And so I think we did that exploration work to find out what was our common, what is the common, policy that could unite us, right? And so we just need to message that harder after this. But in order to do that, we got to stick together through this difficult time, right? And come out the other side, continued to be unified on this one particular policy that, that really could be transformational for everyone. Go ahead.
What it comes down to, like I just want to say real quickly that when it comes down to the argument for UBI, it's like the bottom line is this. Okay, you got a bill that's due tomorrow, or like what if you get your car breaks down, or like or your something happens that and it the prices are pretty high or whatever. It's like, or if you get laid off, it's like, what are you going to do? What is your response? And if your first thought is going to be, I have no idea, or I guess I'll just work another 9 to 5 or do this or whatever. I'm like, what if I told you have another option? What if I told you that you will get a monthly allowance of $1,000 or more, just for being American and one of the foundation, the workers, of this country, and this is, if things go south for you in your life, you'll have something to fall back on, and you might get the chance to start your own business, and and be able to take care of certain costs or whatever that they're either coming up or happen, without you knowing. Like, you'll be ready, and like that's what UBI is for. And also it
and
helps you stuff.
When you discuss that with people who are Trump supporters, in general, they are very, they're able to come around to that very quickly. I mean, I feel like that's one thing that I've been very surprised at. Several people have said, well, I believe in a negative income tax when I talk about UBI. And I go, well, does your negative income tax include caregivers who are staying at home and are not making an income right now? Would they get a pot, like an extra amount if they're not paying taxes? Can they do that? And they say, well, how are they any different than anybody else who needs that money? Yeah, sure. And so like maybe the words are different sometimes that appeal to one group versus another. And that's why I'm thankful that Manny is here, for example, so that you can tell me what is the messaging that works for your group, right? So, and hopefully you can appreciate us too, if we're on the progressive side, we say, hey, they're saying it's not enough. They call us a Trojan horse because they think this is not enough money to sustain people. Okay, well, how can we ameliorate that? So if we go forward together, right, we can inform each other on how all these different disparate groups come to the same idea, right?
So, go ahead, Jeremy. You haven't spoken as much.
I think it's incredibly easy to speak to conservatives about UBI, and pretty much even in the same way that Andrew Yang framed it, just as Melania Ultra or Melina Ultra on our YouTube chat has posted. It's cheaper, it's more efficient, it's less government, and that's what sells them on it right then, right there. So the only thing you have to really help them out with is a VAT tax, and you don't even have to fund UBI through a VAT tax. There's 100 different ways you can do it. But yeah,
I'll tell you the number one problem, Jeremy. You're right on target right there. The number one problem people have with UBI on the conservative side and on the right wing is they're going to raise my taxes, because a lot of people are one track minded when it comes to making money, making an income. I'm working and I'm losing money. I don't want to have to pay for someone else's UBI that didn't work. What has to be clear is that it's not going to be taken away from your money. It's something that's going to be a transmitted thing through VAT, added value tax, and other things that the math has it with. Andrew Yang puts out the math. It has to be clear to when you explain it to someone that it's not taking away from your own income. Rather, it's from the general pile of cash that there is in the government that's not being used, or from big corporations that should be subsidizing the people that are giving them their company. So there are a lot of people that get it wrong from the beginning, and that's why it's not accepted. You just have to explain them that it's, number one, not going to be taking away money from you. Number two, like you said, it's freedom. It's your money. You could decide how to use it. It's even better than any other form of money. When you pay money to the government for taxes, that only then you get it back later. Here, you're getting automatically every month $1,000. It's much more of a freedom. Now, people are going to say, wait, but I'm relying on the government still. You're always going to rely on the government. The government is there to help you, not to take away things, but to help you. And they're going to help you by giving you cash. Think about it. The government's there for you, not it's for the people. Government for the people, not the other way around. And if you say that the government's not good because there's a government helping me, that's stupidity.
So you were saying something about how everybody's always going to hear an argument from a different side, Manny, and that's going to always be a reason to deny it. I think maybe that is one of the secret downsides towards trying to argue for UBI. There always is an argument for it, no matter what angle you look at it from. And I think some people think that gives it kind of like a chameleon-like property. That means that it can't possibly be as good as everybody says it is, if there's always an angle to make it sound good to anybody at any time. I think its mutability might actually be a reason that causes some people suspicion when it comes down to it.
Like a salesman, it's like, oh, it cures cancer. It does all this. Yeah, I get you.
So it's interesting to me that we have three Texans
a lot of
here.
Things that UBI could be used to do.
I found it interesting that we have three Texans here in this small room.
UBI could be aimed to do,
And Zach is one of them. Zach, you're out here in Texas with me, right? I'm in Palestine, Texas, which is a super rural area. And Zach, you're in the Austin area, is that right?
The only thing UBI can't do is stop people from talking each other over each other on conferencing calls. That's We're coming close to that someday. Anyway.
Yeah, if we had UBI, we'll have better Wi-Fi, better internet connections.
I wanted to find out, where is Texas politics from?
So right now I'm up in near Fort Worth, but I'm originally from Houston, so that's where I'm going back to vote. I'm just temporarily living up here in Fort Worth.
Okay, so where are you originally from, you said?
From Houston. I'm going back to vote on the day of.
Would you say you're more from the suburbs or from the city area?
More from the city area, yeah.
Okay, and how about you? I'm more of a transplant. I mean, I started out as an immigrant to Texas, right? And then I moved out, and then it was like, I was away from Texas for a while, traveled all over the country, came back, and then ended up in this rural area. So I'm more of a transplant in the rural area, but I love seeing all the differences,
I've been in Texas all my life, actually. So,
sorry,
go ahead.
So even though we have three Texans here, we all come at it a little bit differently. How about you? Zach? Do you feel more like a transplant or someone who's been here forever? Or
Yeah, I mean, I've only been here a year. Actually, I think a year ago this week I moved to Texas. So I'm really a New Yorker. I'm a Long Island guy at heart. But now I'm a New Yorker in Texas.
Yeah, and in the
But
Austin
it's a
area,
great
like
state. I
here,
love the state. I already feel at home, to be honest with you.
yeah, like the best thing about Austin is they
Austin
have
is
that
like,
very progressive sort of outlook on things, because they say their motto is keep Austin weird, and they have a lot of music, right? So entertainment. They're kind of like the San Jose of our area, right? Where they have more high tech people, and they also have a lot of students. So there's music, and it's a musical scene there that's very different.
oh,
ACL.
it's booming. It's the music capital of the world, they say, and it's a very artsy town.
I thought that's Nashville,
pre-COVID, there's
Tennessee.
always something going on.
I know Nashville would have something
it's
to
like
say
a
about it.
Nashville. In a sense.
So anyway, I just thought it was interesting. We have 3 different Texans
I
here,
think
and we're all
Nashville
interested in politics that way.
So I'm not sure how much longer we have.
Yeah, it's a cool state for sure.
Because schedule said 8 to 9. Do we have you for longer than that, Manny?
Yeah, sure. I'm here till 10.
Okay, I'm
So
probably going to leave
here's
a little bit early.
when Manny talked about like framing. Here's a good thing for conservatives too. You can say UBI comes with none of this paternalistic, bureaucracy that we have, because the paternalistic bureaucracy is a way the government controls you. If they just give it to you no matter what, that's not control. But if they make you like fill out all these paperworks and all these forms and check all these things off, then you're under their control.
UBI have Big Brother involved. That's for damn sure.
Like, the way you described it, Ariel, it reminds me of like when Andrew Yang was on Chris Jericho's podcast, when he was talking about like the WWE contract and how it's like massive. It's like encyclopedia thick, and it's like it has all this other extra stuff, and the town or whatever is like, they can't like really reject it or whatever. Like they have to sign it because like they have no other choice. So yeah,
Folks, I just want to stop a second. Just look at the comments of YouTube. We have some conversation going there. Maybe we could bring them in. Trumper for Yang went on saying Trump accomplishments, and then there's a conversation going. So maybe we could include them listening right now. So you asked what's Trump accomplishments. So he started listing them off. The things that Joe Biden didn't do, but he was with Obama.
Well, yeah. I mean, first, you don't have to frame it as Joe Biden anything. These are accomplishments of Donald Trump, and I would like to hear. I was curious about your opinion on that, because we have you as our guest, and they would give me context on the things you're saying. But absolutely, let's hear from the comments in our chat. And thank you so much for watching on the YouTube chat. We really appreciate you. So thank you.
Yeah, I love to hear. It's like, what has he done? It's like,
Great. All right. So we could start with I could list off all the accomplishments, or just say what comes to my head. First thing is this is something before COVID. We have to look at before COVID, because after COVID is a whole new world. Because after COVID, everybody has different explanation of what Trump did with COVID, and that's a whole different argument, and it could be a longer argument. But let's say before COVID. Before COVID, he created 7 million new jobs, including now. Obviously, you're going to say, wait, but I didn't see any of them. There are 7 million new jobs that were created in different sectors. He created over 400,000 new manufacturing jobs. He brought back companies that the reason why they didn't leave is they were going to leave, and they were leaving Mexico and to China. Trump put on a tariff if they leave, and they stayed here and opened up companies, new factories and steel companies, new steel companies open. And also he took about regulations. He took off a lot. The first few days that he came into office, he took off thousands of regulations that Obama put on small businesses, and over 600 and something regulations affected clearly small businesses, and Trump took that away, and that boosted the economy. There's other things that, besides the economy, he did a crazy amount of foreign relations. If you think about it, he's the first president in history not to start a war. And he came into office actually supporting gay marriage, surprisingly. He's the first president to actually get criminal justice reform done. All the other presidents promised to move the embassy to Jerusalem, which is something good for the Jewish people, and he got it done. A lot of pressure came from different people now to do it. He's been fighting against people in the media, which is, you guys all know that that's something that the media is a lot of fake news and a lot of corruption goes on there. We saw that with Andrew Yang and on the campaign trail. And Trump's fighting against them tooth and nail. It doesn't matter what his intentions is. It's about what he's actually doing. It could be beneficial to other people. That's very important to fight against fake news, and they're using out, big tech is using fighting against conservatives, and he's fighting against big tech. He's supporting our police, law enforcement, got rid of thousands of millions of criminals that were killing people on the streets. He put down the drug abuse from in New Hampshire and all these states that had a big addiction. He worked with people locally to help people get off the addiction of drugs. What else? I'm just this also on mind. If I look at through yeah.
Did you mention the peace progress in the Middle East already?
That's right. That's huge. Never before has
this accomplishment right there.
The reason why I didn't say that is because that's something that, first of all, it's not done yet. He did start a Middle East peace agreement with a lot of different
wait, recently?
Yes.
Yeah. Why didn't he do it earlier?
He actually did.
Why didn't anybody do it?
Yeah, that's a lame argument. You know that.
He's supposed to be better. Like, why did he do these things early on? And it's like,
why didn't Obama do it in the 8 years that he was in president? He didn't do it. Trump did it. He got it done.
Let's just be honest.
I know.
The Middle East under Obama was not great. We had the Arab Spring chaos in the Middle East.
We had a war going on. ISIS. We had ISIS, the biggest threat. We had North Korea on our backs. North Korea is not a threat as of now. They're not throwing missiles at us, or they're not even thinking of throwing missiles. We don't know that, but the fact is we don't hear as much. Remember the first few days after Obama left? It was insane what was going to happen with North Korea. That got done. We don't talk about it anymore. It's not on the news. Now ISIS.
Okay, did he smooth it over with Iran? Because it's like, you know, they took out they ripped up the peace deal for them, and then they took out one of the leaders, like Soleimani,
he got killed.
No reason. Yeah, they took him out. They killed for no reason whatsoever. He wasn't a threat to.
He killed. Wait! Stop! He killed thousands. Pause. He killed thousands of our troops. Thousands. On his demands. Under his control, under his orders. He killed thousands of our U.S. troops. Don't tell me that he doesn't deserve it.
Where are you from? Because
let's just
fact.
You can disagree on the foreign policy Iran or not, but the fact is that the Middle East right now is looking like it's on its way to a much more peaceful time than what happened in the last 12 years.
So, real quick, a lot of these things, depending on where you land on what you think should or should not be done, it doesn't really matter. it's important to remember that what one person sees as an accomplishment may not be an accomplishment to somebody else, but he is appeasing the people who didn't vote for him. They are getting what they wanted out of him on some levels. It may not be what I wanted, but I can see why people who support that do come back to him.
He did his promises. He accomplished what he promised. That's the fact. He did what he said he's going to do.
That are a lot more nuanced too. That whether you see it as an accomplishment or not is also based on what your standard was for what would be considered an accomplishment. Like criminal justice reform for a certain aspect of the population, what Trump did was perfect and wonderful. For another half of the population, it didn't go nearly far enough.
One second.
So you're going to have two people split down the side.
He didn't promise criminal justice reform. So that's something that additionally he did without promising. What is promised on the campaign trail. Okay, a politician always promise things. He did everything he promised.
Let's just say this.
Every single last thing.
Promises, they're just accomplishments that had been listed as an accomplishment.
But not
a promise as an accomplishment. And it depends on which side of the aisle you are on, whether or not that was accomplished or not to your liking. That's a nuanced area. So, arguing about that is just us finding out where we hardline on different things.
But let's just say this, though. I think that 4 years ago, if you were to ask Republicans about criminal justice reform, they would have been very, very against this. And you'd see that many of them still are the hardline conservatives. But Trump has with people, his advisors talking to him, has sort of changed the feelings and views about criminal justice reform in the Republican Party, much for the better. And I think that's a positive trend going forward. It's positive for the Republican Party, and that in itself is a big accomplishment. Just the shift in the party views.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
That's exactly right.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Listen, Trump's foreign policy was incredible, 100%. The reason why I didn't mention it is because I had many other things to say. So I didn't get to it yet, but his foreign policy is the big elephant in the room. And it's surprising that they didn't speak about it on the debate stage. For some odd reason, they didn't talk about it, even though it's a very big deal that Trump did major deals, no wars. It killed by the way, today, huge news, Al-Qaeda. The second in command, most wanted. Maybe it's not his accomplishment, but the fact is we didn't hear about it. It was Afghanistan killed him. Maybe they had U.S. intelligence, but it doesn't make a difference. The fact is we didn't hear about it. Why? Good news never gets to the front pages, never gets to the people that need to hear it, because the media wants negative. Negative gives fear. Fear gives control, and they want to control you. So you'll never hear what actually Trump does, the good thing that he does. You only hear the bad things. So that's why it's good to sometime to go over some accomplishments that he officially did for his supporters. Now, some of it is good for everyone. Black universities. He gave HSBCU, I think, millions of dollars in funding for the next 10 years. He opportunity zones to make it easier to find housing for Black communities. Unemployment for the lowest in history for three communities: the Asian community, the Black community, and Hispanic community. The lowest ever unemployment in history before the pandemic. Now, you don't hear about this. The Black community hears it. They know it. They know that Trump's trying to help them. Fact is, you can say Black Lives Matter. BLM is on the left, so to say. It's like a Black Lives Matter on the left. But the fact is, what have they done? The 47 years, 50 years, Biden was in. He didn't do anything when he was in Senate. Actually, he did. He put the crime bill, which killed, not killed, but put a lot of people in jail. And now actually Trump just freed them from a life sentence that Joe Biden gave them. So let's put that to rest, that Trump actually didn't do anything. He accomplished a lot.
Okay. So 2 points I want to make real quick. It's like, we're me and especially and various others, we're aware of what the past, presidents have done, but the problem is like, it is when you are now, the president of the United States, like the top official, like it is your responsibility, your job to look after everybody, not just your own base, not just your supporters or who you're fond of or whatever. Every single person, even those on the left or those, who you dislike or whatever, you're in charge of like their lives, their well-being. And like and if no inconsistencies, no like just or just like favoritism or things that are just like, too reckless or like unprofessional are not really allowed when you are when you are the president, when you are the epitome of America, and the world is looking at you like it's like, like you're supposed to be the greatest. So it's like, so act like it. And also it's like when you talk about jobs, what I've seen, and I'm over here in Chicago, what I've seen is that the jobs that are coming in are usually gig and contractors. They're not these big time ones. And the small businesses that I know of, they're not getting better. Especially now, and
wait a second.
It's like
you have a point that not like, everybody was helped.
The fact is just looking around, like that's common sense.
So as a representative of the immigrant community, okay, and of Asian people in general, I'm going to say that I don't feel that Trump has accomplished anything for me specifically. So sorry, I just don't agree with that.
Like, all right, no problem. I didn't say that everybody was helped, but a lot of people were helped. Okay, so you're not one of them, but if you look around, and there's people coming to Trump rallies that never were helped before, and they said my small business the regulations went off. I got a job. Maybe you're not one of them. You're just not the lucky one. But the fact is, a lot of people were helped, and they're voting for Trump this election because they actually got helped by Trump. Now, you could argue and say I didn't get helped, and you don't see the outcome, but Trump has a lot more to do. That's why he needs another 4 years.
What I also saw is that the government shutdown, it actually affected here, and a lot of people were working for nothing. And I actually, the taxes actually got significantly delayed because of, that government shutdown he did. And yeah, like there were a lot of stories where people were really working the
government shutdown
for
Sorry, the government shutdown. You have to look locally. Locally, it's because of the governors of that state. If you look at the certain states, they're open and they're just fine. Their economies are doing great.
Government shutdown that affected that. That's what
every single country in the world shut down. Look at Europe right now. Our economy is booming back in a V-shaped recovery. Wait a second.
Yeah.
1 second. Fact is, we look at our economy. We had to shut down because people would been much bigger effect if people didn't shut down. Now, fact is, what's happening now in the states that are still shut down?
I thought he loved America. I thought he wanted to make America great again.
Wait a second. He's told them to open up. They're not opening up. The governors, Andrew Cuomo is trying to ruin the economy because he doesn't want Trump to get reelected. He's going to open up on November 4th. Trump is not fault for. He's not being a dictator telling you must open. He asked them to open, but he can't force them to open. It goes locally. Locally, if you look at the district and you look at the economy, where is it good when the places that opened they're getting back, but the places that are still shut down, it's because of them, their fault. New York was a disaster. You know how many people died here? I'm here. I know. It's only because Andrew Cuomo didn't do a good job, and now he's trying to be a dictator and shutting down synagogues, schools, small businesses, and giving them fines for no reason. I'm here, and I see people even more strict now than they were when there was a problem. There was actually a virus.
Well, I'm not
in March.
denying that our local governments are shitty. Like
de Blasio was telling everybody to go out and have fun in middle of March when we already knew about the cases months before. Okay. The fact is, they didn't take care of the problem when it started, and it's their fault. You can't blame on Trump. Trump's not in charge of the local; he's in charge of the federal.
Just real quick, though,
I'm also agreeing with you on the fact that the local governments are pretty shitty. Like I'm in Chicago, and the ones that are, the mayor and the governor, like they're pretty bad. Even the one previously, like I'm aware of like what the hell's happening, but we can't just make it seem like only one side is to blame and the other is like safe or whatever.
Nobody is to blame. Nobody knew about this virus. Nobody is to blame.
Well, just want to reiterate that, because it just seems as if
people are blaming Trump, and it's not right. Why blame Trump? Bring Dr. Fauci. Dr. Fauci's also the one that said don't wear your mask in the beginning.
I'm holding him accountable because he's the president.
Do we all agree?
And I would do the same for anybody else in charge.
What did he do wrong? He did everything right. He banned China. He banned the virus.
Do we all agree that the response by the federal government hasn't been the greatest? Does anyone disagree with that?
Yeah, I agree.
Definitely needs improvement.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. It was not.
I think. Real quick, one thing. Well, I think one thing Trump should have done. I still really don't understand why he didn't do it. Was there was that universal thing called universal basic masks. There was that program on the table where he was going to every mailing address in the United States was going to receive like a pack of like 5 cloth masks. That would have done so much for not only his reputation, but for public health.
You have a point. That would have done a lot. But then there's Pelosi would said, go to the Chinatown in March. De Blasio, come have fun, go party, don't worry. You have all these local people saying go out, and that got huge effect on the coronavirus because there's big economies, they're big population. Right. So Trump, if you take out all those numbers of the local people, Trump did a phenomenal job. Take out all those numbers that they killed. They killed 11,000 people in New York because he put them back in nursing homes.
Yeah,
that's straight up on Andrew Cuomo. Straight up.
I want to move a little bit away from coronavirus for just a second. Okay. Ask a question, just to know where you guys kind of line up on a certain issue that's kind of a very big reason why I'm choosing not to vote for Trump that I've discussed on here before. Donald Trump, before coronavirus even happened, and was still trying to push it during coronavirus, it just got struck down by courts, wanted to first convert all food stamps to boxed food sent to homes, which would have been very controlling of the diet for my autistic child, who would not have been able to handle whatever was tossed that way. And also then, when that was struck down, decided he wanted to try and go after over 700,000 families, because he did not believe that if you were not working, you deserved to be able to eat. And that was a very true thing. They just struck it down. They were still trying to push it through even during coronavirus. And for families that have disabled children to an extreme degree, where both parents cannot work to take care of the child, they would have basically forced that parent off the food stamps. I would have been another $100, $120 down on food that we barely have enough to get through the month for at all. So I do wonder where you stand on that policy, if you found that to be a particularly egregious one of his, or if you, for some reason, agree with that decision. That would be probably the most heartless policy that I've seen yet, is telling people that they don't deserve to eat.
Well, I mean, I actually received a box of Trump food this last couple of weeks, and what happened was, I live in low. It's run by the Department of Agriculture, so they know everybody in this community is going to be low income. So we might be having trouble with food. So they gave us boxes, and the boxes were made up, and it had a lot of dairy in it. What kind of dairy cottage cheese, milk, cheese, some other kinds of dairy, because we have a glut of dairy in our country, right? And then there were like some potatoes and some like one small tiny watermelon and a couple of bags of chicken chili. And this is what they decided would be provided, not on a top-down basis, but like they said, okay, we'll give out the food, right? And it came with a letter from the White House. President Trump signed it. So he's like, this is going to be popular. This is, again, my thought process is, this is going to be popular. People will get my food and they'll say, hooray, Trump cares about us. The president loves us. The country loves us. But when I got the food instead, I felt like, okay, so there's a lot of dairy in here. He didn't ask me what I need, right? He's just going to provide it. It suddenly came. I didn't know to prepare for it. I already have food in my fridge. There's a lack of thought process here. And then it's just whatever the local government, people who are actually putting this into process, right? They're just picking whatever they have to be able to provide you something. And so it's whatever the local, maybe there happened to be a lot of watermelon, so they gave you some watermelon. So it's like, I was like scratching my head over this, like, should I be really happy and thankful? Or is this like really totally just like mismatched to our needs?
You have to throw away half the food when they send you back.
Throw it away. I gave half of my box away because I couldn't eat it. My friend Faye doesn't eat, dairy. So like, what do we do with this?
I think I agree with your framing on that, Faye. I know about this issue, and I agree. I don't think it was like a malicious, scheme. It's a bad program initiative. I don't know how. What else do y'all think about it?
I mean, it was something. They didn't have. They could have sent you nothing.
You know what that kind of program is called?
What's it called?
It's called socialism.
Socialism?
Socialism.
That is socialism. Is when a business is owned by the workers, my man. Zach, socialism is just when workers own a business. If you like a co-op, congratulations, it's socialism. It's not what you're saying. Let's get over it. Let's just get over it. It's not that. All right, please.
I have no problem for co-ops, but it's basically the
welfare. Welfare is not socialism.
This is your food. You have to. We're going to provide for you. There's a difference between giving cash to people and paying somebody's rent, or saying, here's your food. This is what you have to eat. I mean, there's a difference between giving somebody cash or a cash equivalent, which food stamps is close to that. You're still giving people the power to essentially participate in some kind of market. Those food stamps could be used for certain kinds of foods, and like whenever you buy something in a capitalist society, that's like essentially voting for that company that makes that product to stay in business. When the government eliminates a person's means to participate in some kind of market, that is socialism.
That's not what socialism is, man. Look, this is a semantic argument. But listen, let's solve a small problem here. Let's bridge a communication gap like we try to do. Yeah, please do.
So when the government says, I want you to eat Kellogg's cornflakes in the morning, so I'm going to send you a box of Kellogg's cornflakes. I will pay the Kellogg company.
That's command capitalism. That's command capitalism. That's command capitalism, not socialism at all. Totally different.
I'm a little confused here. You said before that you didn't get anything from Trump, and then you say you got something from Trump.
They were getting
what's your name again?
Before.
Faye. Wait. Fee, what is your name? How do you pronounce your name? I can't.
Faye?
Huh?
Faye, like Faye Dunaway.
All right, Faye. You said you didn't get anything from Trump, and then before, and now you're saying you got something from Trump, but you're complaining what you got. You can't say you want one thing before and then change it.
That's not true.
You did get something from Trump.
Not true. I said he didn't do anything for the immigrant community.
I didn't get something from Trump. You got a package from Trump. I didn't get that.
So you think that my package from Trump was helpful to me, but
what I want to know is
what I'm complaining about.
Wait. But you still got something.
Package that didn't make any sense.
I think the point here is she didn't get it because she was an immigrant, or for any particular reason other than just she got it. So when you were talking about that, you were about addressing specifically the needs of the Asian American community, and that's the portion of the question she was responding to there, not kind of as a general statement.
Also, I still consider not having gotten anything from Trump, because when you say something, right, you're talking about something better than what was there before. Now, supposing this was a different time without Trump, what was there before would probably have been better. That's just what my opinion about what that. Like, supposing Biden had been in charge, I believe he would have had a plan. First of all, he wouldn't have dismantled a lot of things, right? But these are things I don't want to argue about. I don't want to go into weeds about it, because I know we disagree. And I want to be laser focused on what we're going to do, right, to bring about the policies that we can agree on. And so, like, we can talk about this and we can say, well, I think he was helpful. And then you could say, but then somebody else is going to say he wasn't helpful. And we can just argue about it a lot.
I wanted to talk about something that Zach Satcher said. It's like you what's even worse in not being able to participate in a market is when you're barred from opportunities, when there are these, like, sometimes these HR people, or like you have a disability and like you're not getting hired, and then if there's like nothing there to like help you, and like work is the only way people can make money, but like people can like blackball you from working in certain industries or blacklist you, then that's not freedom, because they're like blocking your access to the stuff that you need to like survive. So that's another form of like oppression that like can happen in like super capitalistic societies, when people are like barred from opportunities because of the people who are in charge. and the people who can just like write your name on a list.
I have a point. Wait a second, 1 second. The fact is, we have to realize Joe Biden had the power to get everything he said he's going to do, or you think he's going to do in the next, if he's elected. He had the power to do that when he was vice president for 8 years. He was at the ear of the president. He could have done it. Now all of a sudden he wants to do all these things. Now, besides that, he's been in the Senate for 36 years. I mean, why do we want to go backwards? I thought we're all about going forward. Thought humanity forward, not backwards.
Both of them are forward. That's
I hear what you're saying, but I think both of them are going backwards. Both of them. It's like you're right. It's like Biden hasn't done anything for 8 years. It's like, and it is a fact, and he had the power to like say something, and our government's jacked up. So like all those things have happened. We should be going forward. We should be putting forth, solutions and like, trying to solve these issues so we can live in a better community, better environment or whatever. But unfortunately, that's not the hand we've been dealt. Now we're once again going backwards. So it's like but the fact is,
I just listed off for you some of the accomplishments.
So yeah.
A second. The fact is, I showed you that Trump did more than what Obama did. And if you want to go back to Joe Biden, which was with Obama, you're going backwards. Trump at least did something to be in the moment, at least do something in the moment. You want to see he's going to go forward, that's arguable. And I could agree with you in a certain sense. He's not addressing the UBI, the robotic issues, and he should get there. I really think I would love for him to go on that subject. But the fact is, where do we want to go? We want to go backwards? We want to be at least in the moment.
Well, I just
want to live a better life and help my closest friends. That's all I want to do.
Fundamentally disagree on what, like, I think this is just where we're going to have to draw the line, because we don't agree on what moving forward looks like from that perspective. Like, I don't agree with a lot of what Trump does. A lot of that feels backwards to me. And I understand that maybe he's done things that you find are moving forward, but I don't like the things he's done that's moving backwards. And there are things that I think the Democratic Party in general is doing that's moving forwards that could be enhanced by that. But I don't like Biden either. It's not like I'm like, yay, Biden. It's just
I didn't even choose him.
Trump's not going backwards. Trump actually made peace deals, huge peace deals that were never done with history.
Well, like you bring up bring up the manufacturing jobs. It's like he wants to like cling on to those because he doesn't understand that like they don't care. And also like even that one factory job that he saved, I heard that they like exported and the tax breaks he gave to like some of these corporations, they didn't hire more people, they pocketed most of that money. So
automated all the people and stuff. They didn't move it to Mexico, but they may have automated it. So I don't think like Trump is yearning for this American past when like all this happened, but which is going backwards.
Right. Again, suggests that we are going backwards on its own.
Bringing manufacturing back to the States should not be called backwards. That's for Florida.
Yeah, it means. I mean, as an American manufacturer myself, yes, I can tell you from firsthand experience that yes, he has done a lot to improve our manufacturing sector in this country. That is undeniable. Undeniable. Firsthand experience. And yes, but I will say automation in manufacturing, yes, is a very real thing. However, it's probably different than what people imagine it to be like in the workplace. So yeah, definitely one machine can do so much more than what anybody can do manually. But we even if it is those robots doing all those jobs, we need those robots in this country instead of in China.
What you're right, 100%. By the way, Trump for Yang podcast, he just mentioned something really cool. That if Trump's elected, you'll actually get a chance to get Yang to be the Dem nominee, because he won't run against a Dem incumbent. We know that already. It's impossible to win over an incumbent. So if Kamala Harris becomes president, you know what I mean, then he's not going to be able to run against her, or whoever else is going to be the president at that time. So the fact is, if Trump wins now, Andrew Yang has a much bigger chance of winning 24 and moving forward. If you vote for Joe
jumping the
Biden,
gun, man. It's like he's what he said is that if the person in charge doesn't help the people, and do the things that he's been fighting for, he will run again. Like that's literally what he said. He didn't say he wouldn't run against a Democrat incumbent. Like based
Andrew
off of
Yang
what he
has
said.
zero. Andrew Yang has zero chance to win in 2024 if Biden wins. That's the fact, right? You know that. If Biden wins, there's zero chance for Andrew Yang to win.
Lanny here. Okay, hold on just a minute. I can agree with you, but what I don't want you to do is come to proselytize us to say, oh yeah, Trump is better than Biden, or because we're not trying to convince you that Biden is better than Trump. We're not doing that, right? So we're here to have a discussion that is going to move us forward, right? I don't think that we need to
exactly. I'm trying to help you move forward. For telling you that the way we'll be able to get to Andrew Yang in 2024 is if Trump wins. You want to get Andrew Yang to be president, right?
But see, Andrew Yang doesn't have to be the president. He only did it because he was the only one who could do it. He said, I'm the one that needs to go and do this now. So he did what he had to do. But nobody was asked Evelyn if he really is going to want to have to do this for, another term and another term. We don't know that. 2024 is far away.
It's important to get his ideas across the finish line, not him actually being in the White House. That's the number one.
And who exactly is going to do that in 2024 if Andrew Yang is not there?
And also,
my personal hope is that we're not waiting till 2024. My personal hope is that this becomes an active enough issue that we continue to work, regardless of whoever's president, hard enough to push these ideas through with whatever hand we're dealt. And we can, like I said, we can argue about who's going to win. We can argue about who's better for it. Die is pretty much already cast. People are going to vote for who we're going to vote for. This is not going to change the mind of millions of people at once. So let's talk about what is going to actually move us forward together in the future.
The more we give our attention to like Trump and Biden, we all lose. I think we just have to throw it aside. We just have to say, how are we going to get these ideas implemented? Who's going to be our allies? How can we make the most noise? And how many pro-UBI people can pass through Congress? If we play this dumb game where they try to divide us on just the presidency, we've done that for years on end. It's not going to help. Just throw that out of our heads and just say, don't care. How are we going to get these ideas across the finish?
Practically, what do you want to do right now?
So I want to recognize that whenever we see football, we just call it football. We just say, oh, they're playing football again. They're pushing this way, then they push that way. And, it's like you're on two different teams for some reason because you put on a different color, jersey, right? So that's football. We're not going to participate. And we don't need to do that with each other, right? Yeah, we are going to disagree, but we agree on something that we're going to keep our eye on that. That's it.
Wait a second. If you're gonna say Andrew Yang doesn't need to be president in 2024 and someone else could do it, then we're not going to be called the Yang Gang anymore.
No, that's an idea.
I have been specifically told during a humanity hang that after the election we should maybe not be so headstrong.
Why are we called a Yang Gang Roundtable?
I know, because Yang Gang is how we met. Right? It's a historical event that is never going to change how we met. I met you through Yang Gang, and you know
That's
it.
Right.
What else are you going to call it?
From now on, no matter who takes up the mantle in the future, the Yang Gang will always be synonymous with basic income advocacy. It's not just about Andrew Yang, although he will always be respected as the founder.
And the point of it wasn't that we aren't in the Yang Gang. The point of the shift in tone is to broaden our appeal outside of just.
And we don't need groupthink.
Zach wants to say
it's
something.
For Democrats or Republicans.
Yes.
I want to jump in here. I don't think the Yang Gang is falling apart anytime soon. At least not until UBI becomes law. So after that's when I think there's going to be some problems arising within our coalition.
Oh, there can be thousands of problems.
That's fine. I look forward to the day we have those problems. Sorry.
There are different Yeah, can't get a word in this with this group, huh? There are many different visions out there for what universal basic income should look like, and there are
Oh no, of course.
wants to claw back
exactly. Yeah, right at that moment we
as
lost his sound for a
a
minute.
socialistic policy, and they like socialism. That's a good thing. So, I mean, it's after that. How do we address entitlement reform? You know, does UBI stack on top of food stamps and all these other programs, or is the next logical step to get rid of the bureaucratic?
I think the answer is like most of us don't care that much about the other stuff, and a lot of us are going to be like, whatever, you sort it out.
As long as the UBI is generous.
Yeah. Right, yeah. You said after UBI gets passed, and then you went straight to problems. No, it gets passed, and you know, all these, then that's a huge accomplishment. I don't care if we have tons of problems after it gets passed, as long as it gets passed.
What's the point of the Yang Gang after UBI is passed? I think it's that's the happy ending. Right. We go our separate ways. We can get together for social gatherings if we've become friends. That'll be nice, but it's not about winning basic income anymore.
Here's what I'm trying to do with.
Don't lose perspective on it and think that just because we have the UBI doesn't mean they're going to not try and take it away from us too. We do have to be on top of keeping that policy in place.
I think we need a leader. We need a leader in the White House that's going to actually be a founder of UBI. I think Andrew Yang needs to be president, in my opinion. I don't think that it's going to be able to be done with someone else. That's what I think.
Well, it has to Congress first. So, like, we have to get all the pro-UBI congressional people inside first.
Well, that's true. That's
also that doesn't on either. If there were more Republicans stepping up to promote UBI, I would be happy to help promote them as well, as long as nothing they said was so far off of my morals that I couldn't stand behind them. But the important thing is we need to see more Republicans taking that up for us to be able to commit to them the way we've committed to the Democrats. There are a ton of Democratic candidates saying UBI is good.
Here's the thing though. Here's the thing. Okay, like and this is an absolute fact. Not everybody is going to be here in 2024. So we got to do what we can right now. And as far as like the Yang Gang is concerned, what I want to do is emphasize on that message of like humanity first, because it's very crucial. Like we gotta like treat each other like we belong, like human beings, and not like just if someone reaches out, we can't just push them off the side, ignore them. And my friend over in South Africa, like she's going through a lot, and I tried to like say like, hey, check out this group. They like it could be a home for you, but then she's getting this treatment, like especially on Twitter, where she's being flipped off because she doesn't have the energy to tell her story, because she said 1,000 times and no one's really listening or helping her. And she's like, the only person that has helped her happens to be a Trump supporter, and this is just for like helping her kids and stuff. But none of the blue hats or anybody, except maybe me and a few others have really like looked out for or whatever. And I want that to change. I want it to be like we're still on the campaign, like Andrew is still running and we're still putting the work. I want to make that a normal thing. I want that to continue. And it's very frustrating when all that somewhat died out, when the campaign died out. And I'm like, this should be something that should be implemented in our society, because there are people suffering and dying out here, and good people too. It's like, and it's like those that have kept me alive, they're suffering because of all this chaos and corruption and stuff. And people are just like, just so focused on them, on what they're going through and stuff. And then the moment they hear that, oh, you have 2 parents and you have a roof over your head and you have a bed sheet to sleep on, whatever, now all of a sudden they just turn the page, close the door on them. And I'm like, no, I don't want any of that, because what it does, it just causes more disruption, more chaos, and leads to these bigger problems, leads to more division. And I want to stop all that. I want to break the cycle. I want to humanity first. So yeah.
An important thing to remember is a lot of people don't have the resources to help anybody who's not in a position lower than them too. So like if I can't help militia, for example, personally, because I can't afford to do anything that would be of significant help to her. The most I can do is occasionally donate $1 towards Humanity Forward. People have to give me money to help me out so that I have food for my kids at the end of the month half the time.
But I've seen people who would.
That's just the position a lot of people are in, and I know that it seems like more people should be helping, but most people are strapped within their particular means. They've made a life that is within their means, and any small variation can tip them off of that a lot easier than you think. A lot easier. Even people making 60K, people making 150K, they have all built themselves a box of approximately that income in which they can live. And they will lose if they go too far out of those bounds. So they have to be very selective in who they can help. That's something that actually helps significantly, because then you have expendable cash to be able to take away from yourself without causing something around you to collapse.
But it's not just limited to just the money. That's my point. Is like, because I've seen people who would, when celebrities or those or big time influencers with a lot of followers, when they talk about how they're going through something, funny enough, those who say they don't have money, they donate to them, or they would make their story go viral. They would create some unique videos or whatever, and some hashtag and stuff. And then they eventually get a lot of help, a lot of support.
Is even people in those positions for everybody to go viral. You're asking for the impossible. There are just people who need help to be able to be helped individually through viral storytelling. That's not a reasonable solution. The only reasonable solution is UBI to that. I mean, you can have your specific militia, but then somebody else is getting ignored. There are only so many people in a position to help, and only so many people who are able to get that level of attention to be able to.
Okay.
I do agree with Mia that people need resources now, but the real issue I see is that every single person out there is potentially someone who could help you. And so Manny is new to our podcast today, and you probably not heard me say something I often say, which is, how do I decide who's a friend of mine? I look around me, and if I see that you are somebody who might pull me out of a ditch when I'm stuck there, I believe you're a friend to me, right? I don't care. I'm not going to ask you, do you believe in Donald Trump? I don't ask you if you believe in Nancy Pelosi or what your politics. I don't care about anything else except, are you human? I don't even care if you're an American. If you're an illegal immigrant and you're here or whatever, right, with me, and I'm stuck in the ditch, are you going to pull me out of that? Are you going to stop at the side of the road and get me? Now, I don't necessarily think any of these politicians would, right? They may or may not. They may be too wealthy to stop today. Somebody else will do that.
Well, so actually, talking about stopping, Trump actually stopped on the road and helped someone with a flat tire before he became president. So
okay,
that's just a fact.
The case, then you're human with me, and I believe that we can do some good together. The end, So I think that we can hang together despite all this horrible, like back and forth. Sometimes we get irritated and we Twitter or whatever. Do that, shut off Twitter, but don't shut off the entire gang, right? Come back when you feel refreshed. Don't burn your bridges. Come back and we'll work on it together. We're going to push it forward into the next
I think it's something we have to really mention here before we end this, that we have to make sure that the Twitter chats, and we don't call people names. We don't say you're a Trump supporter, so you're a racist, and if you're a Joe Biden supporter, you're an out or whatever. Okay, no names. That's number one. Number two, I think that we have to realize the future of how we're going to get Andrew Yang's ideas more to the platforms, and everybody has a different opinion on how to get there. But if we could all find common ground on how to do it, I think that would really unite us to be able to stop being, I'm on this side, you're on that side, because there's two candidates. It's something that's really important.
Right. I just hate that like splintering of like the harmony. It's like it reminds me of like divorced parents and then there's triangulation. Triangulation is one of the worst things in the world, because you're using other people to attack other people. You're whispering in people's ears and telling them who to hate. It's just so disgusting. It's like, hey, no one's like a tool for a projectile for your attacks. if you're too cowardly to say things yourself, you have to like whisper to other people to tell other people you don't like to do it for you. That's disgusting.
Well, actually, I never saw anybody, you could prove me wrong, but I never saw anybody on the right calling on Twitter. Maybe there is, but I just didn't see it. Calling people names. I see on the left, if you're a Trump supporter, you're a racist, you're a white supremacist, you're
Wow.
A lot of different names that I've been called myself, and a lot of people could be.
Have you heard of the term snowflake?
I've removed myself from circles that call me names. Then they are on both sides. It's on every side. I don't care which side you're on. Somebody disagrees with you. If you're having a conversation about it, is going to come on and call you some horrible name. Like, I've been called white trash. I've been called the C word and many other words for believing what I believe.
I've been called the welfare
Those
queen.
people believe strongly what they believe. I don't need to interact with them. I'm going to move on. That's what my...
Okay. It could be you're right. I just never. I feel like I went through chats. Right. I've been on both sides when I was a Yang and when I was Trump supporter, and I've got a lot of hate for being a Trump supporter. It could be you're right. I just didn't get it, so I can't speak for that.
Just real quick though, which do you think
I
is
had a
more?
Trump supporter tell me that my disabled child deserves to die because he was never going to be able to support himself because he's never going to be able to have a job. That's just the way people are. If you disagree with them, there's going to be an asshole who's going to try and make you feel small.
I think we all have our anecdotes from both sides, but which do you think is more stigmatized, being a Trump supporter or being a Biden supporter? Y'all answer the question.
Who gets more violence on the streets? Where do you see people getting hurt for being a Trump supporter?
I'm going to vote for Howie Hawkins, but I'm going to objectively say that Trump supporters get more hate at this moment than Biden supporters ever have, I think. And I'm neither a Trump nor Biden supporter, but Trump supporters do seem to be hated more.
Right, and more just the left in general. So, like, the people who get the most division when fighting are the far left versus the far right, and everybody in between kind of seems to find a way to talk to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I think there are a lot of terms, democrat. All right, there's all kinds of terms that the right uses. And they're actually very good at it. They're very good at making up words that that demonize the other side. And so I'm not gonna have to tell you all of them in order for you to believe that it happens.
Saying the left does it on social media, but they don't do a good job. That's old news. They are very bad at putting up phrase. But the fact is, they do call out Trump supporters head on, very, very viciously, and they also sometimes get physical. This is a very known thing.
It's the opposite as well.
Really, tell me a case where a Trump supporter absolutely attacks someone.
So in East Texas, the liberals are the we're the minority, and so when we go and have an event, they literally will hide because they are afraid that the Trump supporters will find out and they will show up with guns and intimidate people. And actually, some person got his phone stolen at the last event we had, and I was happy I didn't go with Zephyr. So this happens all the time. It's just that people are not aware of it. You cannot be objective because
are you kidding me? The media would have reported on it. If it happened, the media would report on it. Because they love these stories.
It did happen, and it's been reported on in Tyler, Texas. You check the news? I don't think so.
Found the case.
Okay.
Reported on. Let's. Can we stop back? This is not a pissing contest.
Wait a second. Actually, it's very important. It's actually very important.
To the other side. Actually, only one side does.
Actually, that's right. It happens, but not nearly as much. Okay. A Trump supporter lose their job, get doxxed on social media for being a Trump supporter. You don't find that as nearly as much on the left. That you'll get doxxed and lose your job for being a Trump supporter.
Hey, well, that's the thing, man.
Hold on one second, guys.
In New York.
Hold on, Ariel. Let me jump in real quick. I have to go. Manny, Jack, thank you so much for joining us today. Mia, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Zach Sacker and I, we run we're getting off the ground. We're waiting for a WinRed account to be approved for us, but we do run a PAC that is focused on pro-UBI conservatives. If you guys want to get involved, if you want to learn more about us, go to rafpac.com, RAFPAC.com. All right. Hey, thanks, everybody.
Man, thanks for coming, Jeremy. It's great seeing you.
Jeremy, try to get in the live stream chat and put your information in there. Do the credit.
All right, we'll do.
Look forward to Don't be a stranger. Look forward to seeing you again soon in the future. When your work schedule lightens up. All right, I'll let you go.
All right, thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
If you guys can get into the live stream chat and take a quick look at how to put your credit in, Ariel just gave us a great example. You just type your exclamation mark credit there and put your name and then some place that you would like people to find you afterwards. You would like to continue discussions with you. Okay?
I wanted to say something real quick. Did y'all follow the Chris Pratt saga thing that happened recently on social media? I saw it from like the very beginning. It was Chris Pratt didn't go to some Biden event that a lot of the other Marvel Universe cast was at, and social media was abuzz with the typical like Chris Pratt needs to be canceled, blah blah blah. He's probably a conservative. He's probably a MAGA. He's probably a Trump supporter. Do you think there would be articles in the mainstream media? Because this is what an article said. It said Chris Pratt may be a conservative. Is that okay? Would there be an article about a person being liberal or a Democrat in the mainstream media? I just don't think so. That's why I say it's more stigmatized to be a conservative.
Yeah, that's what I see as well, and that's what I was trying to say. Thank you. Yeah.
Yes,
I also think it's ridiculous because I also saw them try to cancel Terry Crews for what he said about Black Lives Matter. Yeah. And I actually agree with what he said because and I'm I'll translate roughly, when he was I think when he was saying we need to say Black Lives Matter instead of Black Lives Better. I think the point he's trying to make is that we should treat every single black person, whatever, like they belong, like they're a human being. And like the story of one of my friends, Jose, over in Canada, when she went down to ATL, to meet a family member, they bullied her out of there, and one of these neighbors almost killed her, and no one didn't do anything about it. This is a black community, and I'm sure these same people, they raise their fist saying Black Lives Matter the moment they hear one of their own got shot by a white cop. But there was none of those raising fists when my friend almost died because she had a bad reaction to this bowl of grits, and the neighbor didn't like that, so she tried to shove it down her throat, and then her asthma attack acted up. She tried to get some air, and this neighbor disconnected it, and had her face turning blue and stuff. Everyone saw it. She even had the audacity to go into the hospital with her. No one didn't do anything about it until the French stepped in, until she had to call the French government. And then the neighbors, tried to bully her to the point where she was exiled from there. A black community, who's probably in these groups, stumbling along saying, we got to protect our own. We got to, justice, no peace, all that. They did that to my friend, and she's black too. I'm black. They treat me the same way. They didn't make me feel like I belong because I didn't walk like them, talk like them. I didn't, listen to the same music as them and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, that's just ridiculous and unacceptable. And the media only adds fuel to the fire. So I wholeheartedly agree with that. Definitely and against it.
I have to get going, guys. I wanted to say thank you real quick before I do go to Manny for coming on. Obviously, there's a lot of points on which all of us have differing opinions, but it is great to be able to talk about them in a civil way. I think we've all accomplished that, even if there was some, crosstalk and stuff at moments. I think everybody kept their cool. Nobody was disrespectful, and I really appreciated you coming on and representing that point of view.
You're welcome. I have a lot more to say, and we could always have another conversation. We didn't even touch the surface of what's going on and what people need to talk about. There's so many issues, but yeah, it was very nice being on here, and I would like to do it again sometime.
I'd particularly see you again after the election when a lot.
And just to let you guys know, my interview with Erica Rhodes about school and education is premiering right now. So whatever you guys think about, all this stuff, I think education policy is really important, and we really don't talk about why we don't teach practical information inside of our schooling systems, on money, on getting work, and all of this stuff. So I could leave the link in the live stream.
Yeah. And also, we would like to have everybody also verbally speak their contact information for people so that we can sign off that way, because we are a podcast, primarily audio, and not everybody. Some people will be listening to us on Spotify or Anchor.fm. Correct, Shale? And
yes, thank you.
Our Spotify show is a lot more polished than this live stream that some of you may have watched. And it's all because we have a beautiful sound guy, Shale Riley.
I do look. I try to look my best for the audio only group. Yes, beautiful like a sound man should be.
So let's start with Mia because she's about to take off.
I'm sorry?
Okay. At Mia Songbird on Twitter, Mia Songbird on Frey.world. Tuesdays and Fridays, Humanity Hang co-host. Please come see me on that. At that time, it's always fun when Yang Yang shows up. We can talk, we can chat, we can have a great night. And I'm checking out.
Bye, Mia. Happy birthday.
By the way, I want to point out that there's 3 Jewish people on here, actually.
Yeah.
Who else is Jewish on here? Yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm Jewish. Jewish.
Shell's Jewish. Who else?
Jewish.
Ariel and Zach. Yep. Zach, you're Jewish. There you go. We have 4 Jewish people.
He's not.
Whole bunch of Jews. Room full of Jews.
Oh, okay.
Let's get bagels. What do you think, L'chaim?
I'm Sephardic though. So, but yeah.
Well, aren't we all right?
No.
Aren't most Jews Sephardic? We're all Sephardim here. No, we're not.
Okay.
Anyway.
Whatever you like to be.
I have to go pretty soon as well, so I'll give my my information. My soon-to-be outdated username on Twitter is US_politics2020. And that's my only contact on social media. So.
Well, Jack, it was really nice meeting you. Please come back sometime. I'd love to talk to you more. Man, really, we gave him the spotlight.
We're really I'm sure November 4th. I don't care what happens. We're just gonna get in there and fight, as hard as we can, together, and it's gonna be fun,
Yeah, no matter what happens November 4th, the country will still not work. Yeah.
I want to say thank you to all our people joining on the comments. People who are, putting their 2 cents in, having conversations. That's really nice to see that. Thank you very much for joining. My Twitter handle is the Humanity Force, so that's the HF Warrior. And what else? Follow me. I'll follow back if you let me know who you are. So it's really cool joining you guys.
Yeah, I'll show my face. So you want to follow me? I am at.
Actually, I'm following you. Following you.
Cool. Just and for the people who are watching on YouTube, Ariel's, that's ARIELS, AERIALS, and Revolutionary Thinking on YouTube. Did you know that one, Manny, though? YouTube.com/REVOLUTIONARYTHINKING. Revolutionary. Yeah.
Thank you, Ariel, you Sephardim. I mean, I just remembered that I'm Ashkenazi, not Sephardim. But you know who is Sephardim?
Exactly.
You know who's Sephardim like you?
Wow.
You know who's a seafaring Jew like you? Modo. But
Modo.
only patrilineally, so the magic is broken. So only genetically, not magically.
Happening.
Hey, my children have patrilineally.
So genetically, but not magically, it happens. And what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
I wanted to mention.
But there are a lot of Persian Jews in New York too, as well as Beverly.
I'm magical
glad
myself.
that Manny had a good introduction to our show, and so did Jack, I hope. And if you are ready to come back at any time, we do our shows Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. We are now posting the schedule. Shayla is doing this on Thursdays. So on Thursday, you can pop into the schedule text channel.
And you can see the schedule. And it's been really working. And I don't know why it took me many months to think of it. But it's a great way to have a schedule on our Discord.
Once you see the schedule, you can hop in at any time, and join us. So you are welcome to not have to be the special guest. You can be like one of the regular like us and just come into any conversation that you find interesting.
Well, thank you so much
guys,
for having me on.
Manny, I will not keep you any longer. I know you got to go, but I really want to thank you. This was a fantastic episode, really one of our best. I really enjoyed it. Moments were uncomfortable, but growth is uncomfortable. So that's one of the ways I know this episode was really good. I'd love to have you again. So thank you. Shabbat Shalom. L'chaim. See you around. Come back. Don't be a stranger.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you're around.
Okay, well, I'm actually going to be heading out too because I'm just exhausted.
Busy, man. It's good to hear from you too. Thank you.
Yeah. Me too.
Izzy, you want to put your contact in for everyone?
You can. No, my name is Ishmael Bowden. I'm on Izzy B on Discord, IZZYB. Izzy Bowden, IZZYBOLDEN. Like at that on Twitter. That's Twitter handle. And also same handle for Instagram. And also, like I have my YouTube channel, which is Izzyland YT, IZZYLAND YT, and also like my podcast Izzyland Uncut, that you'll find on, on Anchor, Spotify, Apple, and various others. And I plan on making another episode, like hopefully this coming week, because if I have the energy, because it's been pretty rough. But just be on the lookout. Make sure to subscribe, and check out whatever content. Like if you like the visuals, and definitely go to my YouTube channel. But yeah, you can find me there. He made first.
Thank you, Izzy.
Awesome. My name is Faye Koo, and I'm at Palestine Math.
Hell yeah.
Jill?
My name is Shale Riley. I am at SHAELRILEY on Twitter. Thank you so much for your time and attention. This was an amazing episode. Really, really good. Really did what we intended to, bridging communication gaps. Really nice to meet and know those guys better. So thank you for sticking around to the end of this thing. We love you. See you soon. Goodbye.